of a recession where people are losing their jobs, where their pay is being cut, where welfare services are going to be cut to the bone by whichever party wins the next general election. We are spending billions of pounds on a war that nobody wants. In this country, the opinion polls are running somewhere between 65 and 70% of the population who think that the troops should be out of Afghanistan within a year. And they're right to think that. They're right to think it, even though none of the major political parties hold this position. They're right to think it because the war in Afghanistan is an unwinnable disaster. The Taliban are said to have a presence in 80% of the country. And although these are the people whom we are fighting and killing, they are the enemy in this war, according to the government, and according to the Tory opposition, and according to the Liberal Democrats. Nevertheless, an absolutely remarkable thing happened a few months ago. David Miliband, who's the Foreign Secretary in this country, suddenly made a policy announcement. And his policy announcement was this, that there were, as he described them, moderate Taliban to whom we could talk. Now, this was the first I'd heard about this. Up till this point, I've been believing everything that I'd heard on the BBC, that the Taliban were absolutely unreconstructed baby killers and drug lords, and that we wouldn't be talking to any of them. But the Foreign Secretary said no, there are moderate Taliban to whom we can talk. And then a couple of months later he made another speech in which he said 80% of the Taliban are moderates to whom we can talk. So the question is this, why are we killing them and not talking to them? Why is it, when every sensible person knows that a war like this cannot be won against a guerrilla organisation which has support among the majority of the population, why, when everybody knows that in the end of the day they will have to negotiate themselves out of Afghanistan? In fact, some of the military can say, we're killing them so that they can come to the negotiating table. Now, I don't follow this. Most people would believe, and most people in Afghanistan will believe, that if the British and American and other NATO troops are killing them, that's different from negotiating with them. And that it won't help if you kill the mothers, or the fathers, or the brothers, or the sisters of the people who you know you intend to negotiate with in a few months' time, or a few years' time. This will not help the process of reconstruction in Afghanistan. So this war is lost. It's just a matter of time before the government admit it to us. This war is going to end in a negotiation, and they've already begun the process of negotiation, so why the hell are we continuing with the killing? British forces are losing their lives, Afghans are losing their lives in much, much greater numbers, and we are wasting money. We are wasting money that should be given to people who need an education or need health care, who need welfare services in this country. So whatever other reasons there might be, that's the war that's going on, and that's the war that we should oppose. But there is one other thing that I want to talk about a little bit tonight as well, and that's the effect on the society in this country. You see, in a war you have to demonise your enemy, and in this war in Afghanistan and in the previous war in Iraq, the enemy that they had to demonise were Muslims. They had to say that the people we're attacking are in some way less worthwhile than we are. They are more extreme or religious, or that they have a backward medieval religion. But the trouble with this is, if you demonise a population for their religion when they live in Baghdad or in Kabul, and the very same people with the same religion live in London or Birmingham or Bolton or Burnley, you end up demonising them as well. And this war has produced the last respectable form of racism, which is Islamophobia. So the war is not only costing people's lives, it's not only wasting money, it's introducing into this society a new and virulent brand of racism, which the right wing and the fascists are feeding off. So if there were no good reason about the war to stop the war, there is a good reason if you don't want that kind of racism poisoning the politics of this country as well. So I hope that you'll enjoy the evening, but I hope that you'll be with us in the fight, in the mobilisations. We're having a day of action over Afghanistan, the war in Afghanistan, together with support for Joe Glenton, the soldier who's been convicted by a military court for going AWOL, for refusing to fight in Afghanistan. At the end of the month, on the 27th, that's the next mobilisation. I hope you'll be part of that, but I also hope that you'll sustain the Stop the War Coalition until the wars, until the waste of life, the waste of money and the racism that they provoke is ended. Thank you very much.
We'll be doing events on the day of action, so please, we've got sign-up forms around, so please leave your email and your number to know about that and to get involved. And also tomorrow night we've got a public meeting at Queen Mary University on Islamophobia and the war on terror, so come along to that. It's at 6 o'clock, and yeah, in the breaks come and have a chat with us and so on and so forth. So we'll just wait for the band to get ready and get the music to start. Cheers.
It's basically about stopping the imperialist wars that are going on, mainly since September 11. That's really the reason why it's been set up. Since then, going to Afghanistan. The coalition is basically about stopping the imperialist wars that have been going on, mainly since September 11. That's really the reason why it's been set up. Since then, going to Afghanistan and Iraq.
Wars of aggression masquerading as an attempt to liberate a people who have systematically resisted attempts and turn a regime on them from the beginning. This is an imperial war, it's not a moral war.
I think it's the most we had the First World War, the Second World War, possibly the Next World War, which is oil, really. Yeah, it's a dying trade. Why invest in something? Why not invest in green modes of transport?
Rather than starting wars.
All the troops home now have a full criminal inquiry into how we got into this mess, and seek compensation for the Iraqis, the Afghanis, from the companies that have profited from it.
Wars of aggression masquerading as an attempt to liberate people who have systematically resisted.
The Stop the War Coalition was formed on September 21st, 2001 at the public meeting of over 2,000 people in London. The platform statement was ratified at public meetings held in October 2001 in London. The aim of the coalition should be very simple: to stop the war currently declared by the United States and its allies against terrorism. We condemn the attacks on New York, and we feel the greatest passion